Hello, everybody. It's Ian McDonald with the Sports Card Side Hustle. We have a few topics for you tonight. Wanted to analyze a few charts um, with the top hustle plays of the week, give an update on how our picks were from our first top hustle plays, and also go over some sports card show etiquette with some recommendations as with all the big sports card shows coming up over the summer. So, first one I wanted to hit you with was our top hustle play of the week. We're going with Rafael um, Devers, and I'll show you why. If you go ahead and look at his charts, Otani, obviously everybody knows Otani is the star this year, likely MVP, blowing it up. But if you go back to just after opening day, mid to late April, April 23rd, he's just over $300 if you compare their 2018 Topps Chrome refractors, and you go to Otani, who peaked over $1,000 there, and now he's around 900. Where Devers in late April had already hit $150, and his card's just staying steady. Now let's look at the context. That PSA 10 of that refractor is still at $150 or so. You can pick it up if it's already graded at a PSA 10. You can get it much cheaper raw. But if we go ahead and compare their stats, while Otani's likely to be the MVP, he's leading in slugging percentage. You see Devers fifth in slugging percentage. See Otani at OPS second, Devers fifth. If you go to total bases, Devers also top five. Runs batted in, he's third with a chance to win the RBI title. And he's on a first place team that has a chance to win the World Series this year. So what I think is going to happen is there's a good chance Otani's going to get the MVP title for just being the best hitter, home run hitter, and hitter all around in baseball, a quality pitcher, leading this team. But Devers is going to be in the top 3 to 5 in every offensive category and probably get third in the MVP voting. But the difference between him and Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Otani is that Devers is going to get into the playoffs. So and probably make waves in the playoffs and World Series and have a chance at some MVPs in those playoff series. So while don't expect his cards to come up along with to be in line with Otani's, look for this gap that used to be a lot closer after Otani first caught fire. Look for that gap to close. So maybe narrow that gap to halfway, where you see his PSA 10s in the 4 to 500 range, as Otani's going to struggle to find more price gain this year if they don't make the playoffs and he doesn't surpass 60 home runs. He might be at his peak for this year, and then he's going to build on that new much higher bottom next season. So it's going to be another longer term play for Otani since his price has already exploded. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now let's get an update on my pick of Devin Booker. That was around July 1st. So I got to say that Giannis proved me wrong all the way around, and that has burned me. I the main picks that I made: Devin Booker in the near term, Derrick Henry in the long term. Obviously, the Derrick Henry, we can't give you an update on that because football season hasn't even started. I still believe in that pick. I think Devin Booker will end up still being a good pick in the long term, but I called it as a near term flip and a chance to profit off of his likely NBA championship coming, and that did not come to fruition. So we're seeing his price suffer. So I do see this as a buying opportunity. I was wrong. I had the call wrong in the NBA title, and so he's gone from near peak in early July when I was first recommending to get his cards to a correction of 20 to 30%. So I was wrong there. One thing I will say, part of my strategy that I always use is I do prefer to buy raw. So while I'm showing you prices for PSA 10s, I don't typically end up with a 10, but I do get a lot of 9s, 9.5, and I buy down in here at the price of it, usually 7.5 to 8, and I send in for grading, giving myself this buffer. I do look for the ratios and good ratios. So in me calling this wrong, I do get a little bit of forgiveness as far as not taking a big loss when when I buy that way, but I'm not. Obviously, I don't have much profit or any profit when it's corrected this way if I sell now. So I was selling in here a little leading up to it. Two of the three big cards of Devin Booker's I had it originally. I sold, but the others I had one or two others come in. I'll be holding those now till I think he's gonna have another good season. So because of being wrong in the near term. So keep that in mind. Other thing I wanted to go discuss tonight as a follow up topic was sports card shows. Sports car show etiquette, right? And we have sports card season with the summer, with vacations, with the big shows this summer. Dallas happened, Atlanta happened, Chicago, the National will be happening, and just want to go over etiquette and kind of get it on everybody's mind. Just mostly it's just situational awareness. A lot of this stuff is common sense, but if we think about sports card show etiquette for the buyers, let's go over these first. Just think of other people. Think of the sellers at the tables. They've put in a hard day's work there. They're paying rent for that table. They've given up their time on the weekend. They're interested. They care about the hobby, and they're just doing the best they can. So don't block the tables and potential buyers thinking about yourself and being self-absorbed, whether it's a conversation you're having, whether you're trying to look up prices. I was at a show in Chantilly this summer, and I gave up on a number of cards I was interested in because of guys who were blocking the glass and the tables in the area to look at while they were looking up comps on eBay and on Point 130, Card Ladder, Sports Card Investment, Market Movers, whatever it may be, and they just had no awareness of anybody else. So if you're having a conversation with them and you're being courteous and you're genuinely interested in the seller and building a relationship, a connection, step off to the corner of their table or their side. Let other people look at their cards. Don't make them miss out on sales because of your conversation. And if you want to look at comps, move on and go look at comps and come back to that card. Um, so don't be callous in the way that you come back in your uh, negotiation. That's point number two. As far as sports card etiquette, if you know the comps or you just walked away and you looked them up or you knew them recently and you don't like the price, feel free to come negotiate to the best price. Try to uh, beat the price they were giving you. Give them your opinion, your input, but don't be condescending or insulting and tell them that the price is stupid or it's terrible, because you could get it much lower somewhere else. If they can't budge on that price or they can't afford to, they're not willing to, then just move on, and no no reason to disrespect anybody at a card show. It's not going to do either side any good. And if other dealers see that, they're not going to make a better deal with you when they see that. Third thing, don't waste time unnecessarily. Don't waste their time. Don't waste your time. If you want to make connections, build relationships, learn about the market, learn from that dealer, get to know that dealer and seller for relationship purposes, or get insight about the market and the card shows, then be genuine and have a real conversation. Um, and pause when other buyers then come to look at cards or they're inquiring about the cards and their chance to sell. Give that seller the opportunity. Don't interfere with that as a buyer, but just so these are all just ways to be courteous, right? Now, if you've been a buyer and you've been at card shows, you've probably tried to have some of these conversations or interactions, and you've seen it go wrong, or you've seen other people do it, where a seller just reacts or responds unprofessionally. So these rules of etiquette should apply to sellers too. Be polite and respectful for the to potential buyers. If you truly can't go lower in any price, or you're not going to, just be honest, direct, but without telling the buyer that you don't care about their what price they'd like, or being disrespectful back to them or insulting. The tone of your communication as a seller is going to be a huge deciding factor for some buyers if they're on the line, if they're undecided. So just keep that in mind. So as sellers, also please know your prices or have them ready and readily accessible. As buyers, we will give up, especially if it's crowded and chaotic. If we see a card with no price, we ask for it, and you go, I'm not sure. You've got to dig for a while. You've got to go look for a price list. If you don't know the price, you don't have it in your head, then you should at least have it very easily accessible quickly, or have a ballpark number to start with to start that discussion before you get to the final price. Or as buyers, we're going to get frustrated. You're going to feel frustrated, and it's going to be a missed opportunity for both. So, also for the sellers, remember that many buyers are as experienced in the market as you are, and they might sell quite often. They might sell on eBay. They might sell at other shows. They might be selling at the show or in their store somewhere else. So please don't be condescending or assume that they don't know anything. Respect the knowledge, and the fact that that buyer is a member of the sports card market, hobby, and community, and let's all treat each other with that respect. So overall, just respect others. Um, Overall tips for the show: whether you're a buyer or seller, have a strategy. As a buyer and visiting, especially, have a strategy. Don't go in and get caught up in emotion or whatever the hype of the day is. Have some data set aside in your head, whether it's Otani or one of those hot new players. I'll tell you that when I went to the Chantilly card show in late May, I bought up some Otani and I was able to sell them for about triple the price in July. But when I went back to the same show in July, a lot of those similar Otani shows, Otani cards, were selling at about their peak, second week of July. And I didn't give in to those prices. I didn't get caught up in the emotion. I looked at the other players that I think will be turning. Obviously, not many players are going to turn and spike to the extent that Otani did, but I did look toward other players that I think are at low points or at buying opportunities. I avoided the emotion of buying Otani at his peak. So be careful. Don't get caught up in the emotion. Have a strategy. Have a budget. Take your time. And don't feel obligated to spend that budget. If the opportunities aren't there, it's silly to make yourself spend it because that's the amount you came with. So after that, take your time. Remember, there's plenty of opportunities, so don't waste money out of emotion or FOMO, fear of missing out, because someone else is getting a good card or an opportunity. Not everybody has the same goals, strategies, budget. And then remember to take the shows to build connections, make connections, and foster those relationships with with sellers, or anybody you want to do business with for the future, whether it's you get their contact info, etc. I'll tell you that I've bought from the same seller now a couple shows in a row, and he did give me the best deals. So just keep that in mind. Um, so yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in for this episode. We hit some top hustle plays being Devers compared to Otani, who's probably peaked in the near term. Keep an eye on Devers now through end of the regular season and the playoffs and World Series. I don't think people are gonna be anticipating he win an MVP, but I think they will start to talk that he's a top 3 to 5 MVP candidate, and then I think he'll have a good postseason with the Red Sox, which is really going to give him more media attention and boost his value. So thanks for tuning in to the Sports Card Side Hustle episode 5. Have a good one, and we'll talk again soon.